Hi, fifth grade. For this week's assignment, you can do either your name in block letters, or you can do different shapes. It's entirely up to you which one that you want to do for this week's assignment. So there are two options, and you can see what I'm talking about listed in the slideshow that I put up there. Whatever you do, you have to do a minimum of 5 shapes or letters. You have to have at least 5. So I'm not grading you based on your skill. I'm grading you on just having 5 items that you drew, 5 shapes or letters. And so you have to have one vanishing point. And I'm gonna start with my vanishing point right now. So I'm just gonna put a dot right in the middle. It's really tiny. You can't really see it that well. Maybe for the purpose of this video, I'll make it with Sharpie so you guys can really see it. But you really, you don't need to make yours in Sharpie, because eventually, you know, you'll have a bunch of lines going to it, so it'll be fine. Then once you have everything drawn, you want to color your shapes and do something in the background. And it can be really simple. So I'm gonna do a project right now. I'm gonna do one with some letters and with some shapes. So you can follow along with me if you'd like. There are lots of other videos out there on the internet that you could look up and get ideas. If you don't understand the way that I'm explaining it, feel free to, go to another video, but just make sure that you are following the requirements. Again, you have to have 5 shapes or letters, you have to have a vanishing point, you have to color the shapes that you make, and you have to have some sort of design in the background, okay? So let's get started. So I have my vanishing point already. So I think maybe I'll do a heart. I'm gonna draw this with pencil at this point, and you really need a ruler for this project. So if you don't have a ruler, that's okay, but you should find something that has a straight edge that you can use as a ruler. So for example, like this is the lid to my watercolors. So I could use that edge, that straight edge, to draw some lines. So you really do need a pencil, an eraser, a ruler, or a straight edge, and something to color with, okay? Even if you just want to color with your pencil, that's fine with me, no problem. Okay, so I have 1 shape, I need 4 more, and I can do letters or shapes. So I think I'm gonna do a letter N, and I'm gonna go up here. We don't wanna draw these over the vanishing point, okay? So we'll do an N up here. And if you need help drawing bubble letters or block letters, I encourage you to start with basic shapes like rectangles. I don't like that N at all, that looks bad. Or look up a video on how to draw bubble letters or block letters. If they're too difficult for you, don't draw them. Just don't worry about them. If I was in person, I could help you with them, but I can't. So I would say look up a video, and if you're still like, I can't do bubble letters or block letters or whatever, then just stick with shapes for this project, okay, for this step. Okay, so 3 more. Let's see here. Okay, all right, so I have my 5 shapes. Now, if you would like to draw more than 5 shapes, totally go for it. You can do a ton of shapes around here if you want. It does start to get a little bit complicated once you start overlapping and things. So, I would say between like 5 and 10, but you have to have 5, okay? Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your ruler and you're gonna line it up. You want the vanishing point on the one edge, and then you're gonna start lining it up with all the corners that the ruler can touch on all of your shapes, or all of the edges that it can touch. And you wanna draw a line between the vanishing point and your objects, your shapes, but you don't wanna draw it if it has to go through the letter or shape. So for example, I am lining my vanishing point up with this corner of the N, and so I'm not gonna have to draw through the letter N, I'm just gonna draw under it, so therefore I can add that line, okay? And the vanishing point, what that is a point. It's gonna make it look like there's distance, like we're going back into space, like these letters and shapes are so long that they're gonna go way back towards that point until they vanish. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this next corner on the bottom of the N, and I'm gonna line it up with the vanishing point. And again, I don't have to draw through the letter N, so I'm gonna draw that line. So like, let's say I tried this corner of the N up here. Let's say I lined that up with the vanishing point. Now, if I drew that line, I would have to draw it over top of the N, right, inside of it. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to skip that corner. I'm going to draw, no, I'm going to skip that corner right here because then I have to go through the N. I'm going to line up this corner here. I don't have to draw through the letter, so I can draw it. And I'm going to do this one here. And then all of these corners, this one, this one, this one, I'd have to draw through the end, so I'm going to skip those. This one up here, I don't have to draw through the end, so I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point and draw that line. So if you look closely, you can see that it looks like my N is vanishing back into space. It's getting smaller and smaller. It looks like I've created that illusion of distance, okay? Okay, now let's do the same thing with maybe just this square down here. So again, you don't want to draw inside of the square. So I'm going to line up this corner and the vanishing point on the edge of my ruler, draw that line. If I line up this corner over here, I would have to draw through the square, so I'm not going to do that one. So I'm going to line up this corner and the vanishing point. And this one works too. Okay, now if you want to do something round like a circle, there are no corners. And so instead of using corners, you just use the edges of your shape. So I'm going to line up the vanishing point. You always line that up on the edge of the ruler. And then I'm going to line up the ruler with the edge of the circle right here. Still don't want to draw inside the shape. And I'm going to draw a line to the edge, between the edge of the circle and to the vanishing point like that. And what we're going to end up with is almost like a cone. Okay, so it kind of created that shape going back. So it's almost like a cylinder or a cone shape that's supposed to be going backwards in space. It's so long, it's, you know, we can't even see the end of it. So we're going to do the same thing with the moon or the crescent shape up here. And the side over here, line the edge and the vanishing point up. And this corner here is a little tricky. You can draw it, but you would only draw the part that wouldn't go through the inside of the shape. So I could line the vanishing point up with this corner, draw it, but then stop that line before it went through the inside of the crescent. If that confuses you, don't worry about that part. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the heart now. So I have a little bit of overlapping. So maybe I'll just draw that line to there. I'm gonna have my crescent go on top. And then I'm gonna draw the bottom part of the heart. And then I'm gonna also do this edge of the heart up here. But again, not inside of the heart. Okay, so first part of the project done. I really just have to color now, right? So you had to draw those 5 shapes. You have to have a vanishing point and you have to have those shapes all connected to the vanishing point. Now I just have to color. So feel free to stay tuned and watch me, color the shapes and do a design in the background and see the finished product. Can't wait to see what you guys make. Good luck.